Hello Dungry family, Emily back with another video on godly marriage, and in this video I just want to quickly go over the Proverbs 31 woman and how she is the highest expression of a submissive wife. Her position in society is so strong and noteworthy that it seems to contradict with the common perception of what submission would look like. So let's see how there is power in submission. So the submissive woman is a powerful woman. She is influential. And how does this happen? If she is doing the bidding of her husband and seeking only the will of her husband, how does she end up being a strong woman who does business? She plans ahead. She's really hardworking. She has a lot of business savvy and is really skilled with her hands. How does this actually happen? A woman who accomplishes so much in her life has to have strength and honor, and the Proverbs 31 woman has both those things. She girds her loins with strength and honor. And the funny part of this is how the feminist ideal is actually the Proverbs 31 woman. It's easy to assume that because I embrace the role of the man being the provider and the strong one, and the woman being the submissive one and taking care and nurturing the family, that I don't want to take on a yoke of my own or carry any burden or responsibility. And when we look at Proverbs 31, we see this woman she holds nothing back. She gives all her time and her energy. She works willingly with her hands. So it's quite clear from this chapter that she is not waiting on her husband for instructions, using her husband's authority as an excuse not to do anything. So this progression of the godly woman who is so productive, she actually becomes influential and develops so many skills. She knows how to do business. She knows how to conduct herself with tradesmen and how to manage a factory. I mean, a woman selling fine linens and making them has to manage a couple of employees at the very least. First of all, she's quite brave. She takes on a lot, and that takes a lot of courage. Secondly, her husband trusts her. And why does he trust her? Because before she even tried to do anything big or important, she proved to him in all the little things in daily life that his well-being and his success was of paramount importance to her, and that she was in no way going to ever try and take his crown or take his glory or usurp his authority. And that is how a woman wins her husband's trust. She will not misapply her privileges. When we look at the story of Joseph and Pharaoh, Joseph was promoted in the ranks to such a high point that he was actually equal with Pharaoh, except for the fact that he was still subject to Pharaoh's will. So Pharaoh held the ultimate control and power, but as for everything else, Joseph had ultimate power, only answerable to Pharaoh. And actually, this is a very interesting representation of God and Jesus, God the Father and his Son. God's will was fully observed by his Son when he was here on earth. He completely subjected himself to God, even though Jesus himself had all the authority of God upon him. In this way, he was submitting himself to God's will and even making his own will known to God, but always reinforcing that God's will be done, thy will be done, not mine. This is actually a representation of how we as women should interact with our husbands, and fully giving reverence and honor. I mean, Jesus was the ultimate example of what submission looks like. And this is where we can take our cue. Being a submission is a woman who is still able to voice her concerns, her wishes, but she also uses discretion, and she knows when and how to do it and when not to do it. Everything she does is for her husband and for his benefit. By doing so, if she's doing so with all her heart, mind, and soul, she actually ends up being the Proverbs 31 woman who is commended, and she has not wasted anything. She has not wasted any time. She has not wasted any of her abilities. She has developed herself into becoming something that is so useful and so productive. She doesn't have to ask for anything because everyone around her can see she is to be praised and people will praise her. She doesn't have to call or clamor or declare herself anything. Her works will declare her glory. This is one way in which we women can take comfort and real pride actually in this role we have as women. It's nuanced, it's complex, it's beautiful. It really has taken me all this time to slowly grasp just how beautiful this arrangement is that God has called us to. Obviously, one never gets to the bottom of God's mind or his wisdom or his beauty, which is wonderful. We can just keep seeking and exploring and learning. I just wanted you to really absorb the full potential of your role as a wife. And it doesn't mean you have to make clothing or linens, but it means you have a lot of potential, and you must flourish, find ways to flourish and to really discover your skills. And all these things start in the heart. If you are a grateful person, if you are thankful for what you have around you, if you look around you and you see possibilities, you are not engulfed with self-pity or overcome with challenges. Becoming a noteworthy woman is something that starts with the very, very smallest thing. It starts with what you think first thing in the morning. It starts with how you deal with the small difficulties in your life, even the smallest things such as getting frustrated because someone made a big mess in the kitchen. How do you deal with that? How gracious are you? How wise are you? How do you deal with it in a way that doesn't insult the other person, but also establish a better pattern of behavior for future? All these things have an outworking, and they are sort of intangible, unquantifiable things because they're so fluid. You can write a book about how to handle situations, and there will still be 10 million other ways that you could have done it that would also have been gracious and wise. So I want you to see how a submissive woman takes initiative. She is proactive. She thinks ahead. She thinks years ahead. Through doing this, she proves her worth to her husband and to her family. She does not have to tell herself that she is something. She doesn't need to tell anybody else. She acts. Her acts, her actions, her works will speak for themselves. And through doing this, she naturally rises in her skills, her influence, all the while still being 100% devoted to the will of her husband. And remember, he trusts her because she has demonstrated her trustworthiness, and he will want to see her succeed. The highest form of a submissive woman becomes the strongest, best version of herself she could ever be.